are in a haunted episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. Welcome. You're here with my family, probably the scariest, cattest of families ever, in our version of a Halloween special. Lily, how are you?
Yes. I'm good. I am good. I am all right, yeah.
Now, you are credited with bringing Halloween to the Canary Islands.
I'm not. Okay, so...
You 100% brought Halloween to the Canary Islands. It did not exist before you.
Guys, I'm having a coffee with my friend Elle from New York who lives here, and she opened an art gallery right next to this language school that's been here for 40 years. And the guy who started it is now he's an older gentleman, but he's probably closer to 80. But he's a guy from Boston, and he moved here 40 years ago, and a long time ago or whatever. And he sits down and pops in. He's like, "Hey, Americans!" He kind of knows us, so he sat down and joined us for a coffee. And he goes, I single-handedly brought Halloween to this place. And I was like, I figured it would. I figured it would have started with you because they had a very famous haunted house. And he goes, no, to all of Spain. In 1981, I did a press conference, nationally televised, telling them that now we had Halloween. I was like, are you fucking serious? And he's like, yeah. And then Spain had Halloween, but it's only become super popular in the last and I was 11 years since I moved here.
But I
contributed.
As far as I can tell, you have brought it to your gym, and where you live, the costumes are essentially, if you're a little...
They take it seriously. Halloween in the States is now just you can wear anything, right? And who can have the most creative costume? Here, it's scary stuff.
Yeah, the kids buy murder costumes. Like when my kids asked if there were kids who were going to be Pennywise in your Halloween, I said, that's considered a baby costume where Lily lives. And then Lily sent us pictures of a 4-year-old dressed as Pennywise.
But full-on real Pennywise, not cute Pennywise.
Bleeding eyes Pennywise.
Yeah, bad.
Here, all the kids dress as Frozen characters and superheroes.
The Descendants.
Yes.
I didn't see one child pumpkin here. They're not fucking around. Zombies, everything. It's really Day, of the Dead. Everybody took the Halloween part of it, the scary, hide yourself amongst the dead, and ran with it. So, because I guess if you think about it, that's what it's supposed to be.
Right, and then Carnival is for just playing dress up for funsies.
Exactly. So they already have that. Also, this is a culture that has multiple horror film festivals in this country. Horror film is a big deal here.
After we watched the movie last night, Vlad just kept on, maybe you'll need to take a screen capture and post this. Vlad just kept on making this face at me. And I was like, you need to stop it right now.
Hold on. Divorcing. Let me take a picture of you doing that. Do the face again.
Oh, that's accurate face. That's a good job.
And I was my heart, I was like, you have to stop it. It's making me very upset right now.
You thought it was scary?
And we'll get to the movie in a second, but what I want to say is when Lily sent a picture of the Pennywise kid, I was trying to find the text. Becky wrote something to the effect of, "Please don't send any more of these photos." In that serious Becky.
Right. Becky's like, I
wrote it's not necessary. This is not necessary. Don't send me pictures. And it's just not.
We had joked about it, the three of us, before, and Shai was like, I bet there's going to be a Pennywise. And I was like, no, I don't think they'd go that far. And then literally...
There's Pennywise and Lilo and Stitch. And so, Becky, how was Halloween for you? In Berkeley, is it still allowed?
I can't. Yeah. So it's allowed, but if you go on the on Nextdoor, which is, the neighborhood... online Facebook kind of thing. It's your social media, but just for your neighborhood. Yeah, there's a lot of rules people post about how they would like Halloween. You would they would like you to behave on Halloween and how to
It's very stressful now, I feel like, to give out candy compared to when we were kids.
Well, it's just like what people want you and don't want you to say to kids. Like if a teenager comes to your door, you're not allowed to tease them for going
That they're too
trick-or-treating
old,
as teenagers because think about it, they could be out stealing cars and doing drugs. And I'm like, I don't think those are the two options. I don't think it's either. You're trick-or-treating or you're hijacking cars. So let's take it down a notch. But what was really cool is my daughter's actually old enough to somewhat participate in Halloween. So we had like a little Halloween party at her daycare. She dressed up as a flamenco dancer. Shout out to Alba, who bought us the flamenco outfit. She wore it for 2 minutes before she stripped naked and ran around in her diaper. But it was a glorious 2 minutes. So it was very special.
Very cute.
So we had a potential haunting incident at my house.
Okay, I would
It's
move
the
out.
Roomba again.
Just sell the house.
So the other day,
Your
so
Roomba.
the other day, one of the Korman family signature items are the La Fuma chairs. Now, a La Fuma chair is a very, very comfortable lounge chair that has elastic bands in the side.
Like anti-gravity, right? It's like there's no pressure on your spine when you sit in it, which is very important for
and mom and dad.
People Google this right now if you're on the if you're listening or look it up on Amazon.
Fabulous.
Mom and dad.
Mom should have bought stock in this company.
Mom is the influencer for La Fuma.
She is.
You go to their house and there's La Fuma chairs. They live in an apartment, but there's a La Fuma chair in the living room and one on the balcony. In case mom needs to move between places, she has to have one at all time. When anyone has a surgery, they bring their La Fuma chair with them so they have somewhere comfortable to sit.
And let me tell you,
all 3 Korman kids have La Fumas.
We love to have surgeries.
So
we loved it.
Exactly. And so mom and dad, rightly, because they are great parents, in addition to bringing half avocados and old peaches, they have brought a number of La Fuma chairs over the years, which on top of that, as the elastics have worn out, Dad has painstakingly fixed over the years.
Right.
Now, we did a fire pit last week, and we had the 4 La Fuma chairs out. We put 3 of them back, but because the Rocket Man was feeling much better from having been sick, he's doing great. Thank you for everybody who texted and sent messages. He is doing great. He became very attached to one of the Fuma chairs, and he was making like a little hideout for himself.
Rocket is such a Korman that even when he's not feeling well, he prefers to be in a La Fuma.
Right.
That is your spirit dog for sure.
So, follow the timeline here. Rocket is outside playing under the La Fuma chair. I come home, Allie comes home, I go down to work in the basement, I come upstairs, it's now, the kids have gone to bed, so we're talking like a few hours, we have been in the house the whole time, this is pre-Halloween. Allie looks out the window and goes, Shy, one of the La Fuma chairs is gone. She said, I put 3 away, there was one in the middle of the garden, and it has been stolen. Check all the doors. I was like, Allie, please. Nobody, you're saying to me, somebody broke into our backyard while we were in the house and stole our La Fuma chairs. I said, and we have Ring doorbells like everywhere, so we would see it if they did. And she's really upset. She's like, you have to go outside and check. So I got inside and looked. I didn't see the chair. And I said, well, I guess somebody stole our La Fuma chair. She says, what if somebody gets in the backyard and hurts the dog? And I said, yeah, that's something really to worry about. And she said, make sure you're locking the doors. You got to be careful. Someone stole our La Fuma chair. And I was like, okay, somebody stole our La Fuma chair. And then
She's like, you get upset if you get diarrhea. This is not making you upset? It's like you get a little tummy trouble and you're like in hysterics and
dog?
There's a potential thief amongst our midst and you seem very chill.
You mean with the dog?
No, you.
Oh,
I mean, you
like
as a person.
Life. Oh, yeah.
In life. Like, you get freaked out over like a minor stomach upset. But yet a potential robber.
So then I started throwing out hypotheses, and I said, well, maybe the kids put it away. Allie said, please, you're telling me, because the Fuma chairs are kind of heavy, you're telling me our 2 children went out.
When do kids, without being asked, put anything away?
Right.
When asked. When did I?
Or when asked.
I said, okay, well, Allie was like freaked out about this. So I go back outside. I look, and lo and behold, where we stack up the Fuma chairs, all 4 are there. And so one of them's put away. And I said, Allie, someone is sneaking into the backyards of Virginia
tidying it up?
and cleaning up backyards. And she says, this isn't funny. Like, she was really, really upset. And I said, okay. Well, we have our chairs. No one stole the chairs. No one stole the chairs. Next morning, she tells the kids the story, and they say, yeah, Mom, we were trying to be helpful. We went together, and we worked together, and we put one of the chairs away. Yeah.
No, they didn't.
No haunted backyard, just super helpful children.
This is the worst story I've ever heard.
Ugh, and you're such a show-off, too.
And your kids, no offense, they're teensy. Like, it wasn't easy for them to put that chair away.
Ghosts definitely help them. There's no way they could have done that themselves. Also, yeah, you're such a show-off. I don't like that story. All right, let's move on. Hello? You there?
Yeah. Can we pause for 1 second?
Me?
Becky, are you sure you're using your microphone and not your PC mic? Because it is like a wind tunnel in your room. It's like...
Okay, maybe I'm not.
It does not sound like you're using your microphone.
Yep, I'm not using my microphone. Now I'm using my microphone.
I don't think she ever has.
I don't think she ever has. That explains like a ton. Like, Dad sent me the nicest email the other day, loving the show. Dad,
there's always so much.
And
noise.
whenever I listen to it, I'm like, man, my mic sucks balls. Is that better?
Yeah.
And I listen to it, I'm like,
Dad sent me the
did they make my
nicest
sound
email.
quality so bad?
Dad,
like, it's okay. I feel like they're trying to make me sound
so much. I'm often like, it sounds like Becky's on a cell phone, but she's not. She's in her room. Maybe her ceilings are so high.
So all the time I could have just been like doing this from the grocery store, and I've just been like wasting my time sitting here.
Probably would have sounded better, Becky.
Honestly, it would have, because then at least the refrigerator.
I was like, I think she just needs to use like one of the mics with the microphone thing, because this isn't working. But I didn't want to say it better now.
How's that?
Wait, so Dad's... Yeah, because Becky's using the mark. So Dad sent me the nicest email last week saying how much he loved the episode that Katie was on, the reality TV. He said it was like his favorite episode. And then he said, you know, but the sound quality, could you do something? The levels were a little bit off. And I was like, look,
all of us. Like, we were all in the email.
Oh, you were all in the email. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, shy.
Either way,
one that gets.
But here I am. I've been thinking about this for weeks, being like, yeah, there's this hum. Is it my microphone? Is there something wrong with it? And then when I realized Becky earlier today was talking into the top of her micro. Becky is like, it's like that episode of the Goldbergs when they tell Murray to yell into the answering machine, and he just gives it. Becky was using her mic that way. We hypothesized just now, and we're correct. Well, it's great to hear you again, Beck. Let's talk about Halloween. When we were little...
So, I'm still laughing.
We are people who are very scared of Halloween, or I was, at least, growing up.
I was scared, but I loved trick-or-treating. I wasn't that scared.
Such that one year, when in Solomon Schechter in Philadelphia, Halloween was on a Friday. I think it was 1985 or 86. And... the teachers told us not to go out and do Halloween on Shabbat, and all the parents are like, give me a break. They just have to do that. But I was so afraid to go out because I had seen the Thriller video, and I was afraid that people would be dressed up that way, that I actually...
like, thank God it's on Shabbat.
I hid in the house, and I told Mom and Dad I'm not going out because it's Shabbat.
Okay.
So I did not trick-or-treat one year because it was Shabbat.
There was
classic
story to putting that chair away. Your 2 kids, like, there's some other reason, and that chair got put away, and they were like, Mom and Dad, we were just being helpful. But there's some other reason. In about 40 years, we'll find out.
Yep.
They will take over. They're already practicing taking over the podcast. What about you guys? What irrational Halloween fears did you have growing up?
I mean...
getting lost
literally,
literally
just going outside and seeing kids in scary costumes. Like, it was everything about it was unpleasant to me. But it was a thing you had to do.
Nope, I thought it was super fun. I had a great time, loved dressing up. I don't really have a negative memory about it.
No, it's not negative.
Ironically.
It was fun going out and trick-or-treating. So there was, like, the fun part of it. But it was also terrifying at the same time. Like a kid in a Freddy Krueger mask with the claw, to me,
that's
just
like...
If that... And there...
I actually
it was all fun and games until some little a-hole had to wear a Freddy Krueger outfit. And then it was just like, no, I want to go home.
I didn't see a lot of Freddy Kruegers, but that was definitely a fear.
Sure.
And I feel like I would have had mom called someone's parents.
It's like all the French Canadian kids running around as Freddy Kruegers.
No,
sure.
and John Garance. Oh my God, his
There
house was filled with Freddy Krueger posters, such that I would fake a stomachache so as not to sleep over there.
Yeah, this is one weird like childhood thing that I don't feel I can partake in.
Okay. Well, one thing we did partake in is we all agreed to watch a scary movie.
Yes.
Lily recommended them.
Just like a once-a-year event for this crew.
I think it was great. We haven't all watched the same movie in a while, and I love that we did that. As a base level, that was a lot of fun. And I am dying to know what you guys thought of Jordan Peele's Us. Lily, as our horror movie connoisseur,
That's not how you pronounce that. That's not how you pronounce that.
Start us off.
As your horror movie croissant.
Ooh. Fun.
I'm the croissant of the group, definitely. I would say this. I think when you make a movie like Get Out, you can make anything else and everybody will watch it and try it. Like, I'm just saying, I don't want Jordan Peele to be the M. Night Shyamalan of like new horror cinema. Because after Sixth Sense, right, you could make anything and people would be like, it's going to be amazing. And then they're like,
another twisty-ended movie. Although it was Unbreakable, which is a cool movie.
Right. But then, I mean, Unbreakable is great, but in general, his oeuvre is nothing to write home about. And I think that it's hard, it's a tough act to follow, Get Out. And I just got to say off the bat, I was a bit disappointed halfway through the movie because I was like, oh my God, this is not nearly as good. That being said, I think it's like not fair to do that. And I put out there the question of, is a movie considered good if once you read like a cultural studies, like theoretical article about it, that's like really talking about like things metaphorically and its impact on society and blah, blah, blah. It makes you like it better. Kind of like you hearing maybe the review of Joker from people who had a different perspective. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe I liked it. I don't know.
Oh, no. I did not like it, but it is a good movie. That's where I've come down in the end.
Okay.
I think having talked with
Brian,
Tony,
I don't know if this is a good movie, but after reading about it, and kind of getting deeper into its significance, I think I like it. I'm not sure it's a good movie, though.
Beck, what's your reaction?
In the horror genre, I mean, like...
My reaction is that it's just about at the level of scariness that I can still enjoy a story.
It's like all you care about.
No,
but
like
I think Ryan gave us a great like way to approch it. The scary stuff is in the trailer.
Becky, what do you think about it? Okay, I'll finish. So it's at like the level of scary where I can be like, oh, this is scary, but I'm still enjoying the story. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is like the right amount of scary to me. 2, I feel like I appreciate how artistic and symbolic it was being, but the leaning into the artsy side of it left so many plot holes for me. It took away from the scary factor because I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. How do they have all the same matching outfits? That doesn't make any sense at all. How would the doppelganger have a C-section by herself in the basement of that? Like, there were just so many very gigantic plot holes that it was hard for me to like stay scared and to stay engaged because I kept on trying to like
something that I read about, like that other people agree with.
Right.
But,
and
it takes you out of it.
That's why I said like Vlad's answer to everything was it's artsy, it's symbolic. Just look for the symbolism. And I'm like, sure, but it also is a little bit lazy as far as like keeping a tight, good plot that way.
I read, instead of using the word lazy, I read an article that basically what you're calling lazy, which could be true. The article was like, it's
a harsh word.
No, but that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. The person reviewing was saying it's elastic.
Oh, you read that review? I read that review too. That was on Vox, I think.
That it's elastic. And I think that's interesting, but is that just like a nice way to say lazy? Like Vlad interpret it so many ways if it's not so structured. Like Get Out is so structured that it's very clear slavery, racism, that's what it's about. Whereas this being lazy or elastic, is opening more things to interpretation, I guess.
So here's where
Sure.
I come down. Here's where I come down. First of all, if you are going to watch,
Wait,
if you're going
but
to
I
watch
do
the
wanna
movie Us,
say,
spoilers are
I do-
coming now.
Yeah, well, if you haven't seen it already, again, this is on you. But I do want to say that I truly enjoyed the performances. I thought the kids were incredible. I thought Lupita was just off the charts. The guy that played her husband, on the one hand, I was like, is he that great of an actor? But on the other hand, he was so funny. He was
He's
wonderful.
in Black Panther.
He was wonderful. I really loved him, especially just like by the end. So I felt like that was totally engaging enough. And Shai, I know you're not a big Elizabeth Moss fan, but I feel like this would be a role you would enjoy of
Well,
hers.
I enjoyed this because her character was killed not once but twice. I got to see
When she died the second time and it was like gory,
No,
I was
3
like,
times.
Shai's.
No, because they killed her. So they killed her, the main character. Then they killed her
Yeah.
doppelganger, and then they had to like kill her again. Oh no, it was the twins. But yeah, they had to kill.
But either way, her death was a bit like drawn out and long, and I was like, oh my God, Shai's loving this scene. This is his favorite part of the movie.
Well,
Poor Elizabeth.
I don't wish harm on actual
Of course
Elizabeth
not.
Moss, but
her in a movie.
But well, I will say the long drawn out deaths. I was annoyed because I said, "Oh, she's still on screen." So I still think, even though her character was murdered twice, I still think it was too much screen time for her, and anyone else could have played that role. But in terms of Elizabeth Moss roles, this was the least annoying, because Jordan Peele is brilliant in my view. So my reaction to this movie, which is this, just to recap for the movie, it's about this family who goes on vacation, and then these clones or doppelgangers show up and try to kill them, and then there's more mystery unfolded. I loved this movie. I thought this movie was excellent. I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
What's funny for me about this movie?
Oh, really? Shai?
Yeah, what's
I'm
funny-
impressed.
I liked it as well, and I thought it had great plot twists and stuff. So I do agree. I liked it. I just, the elasticity at a certain point
I agree with Becky in
took
that.
me
sense.
away from being scared.
Exactly.
I thought that. So
It breaks up the momentum.
So
It also leaves you asking too many
Okay, wait,
questions all the time.
we need to let Shai speak. We're enough.
Becky literally did exactly
Enough.
what you did,
Enough.
Becky, which is the
Enough.
only
I
thing
know.
I'm enjoying. Is
I
that
know.
Becky
I know.
absolutely.
Just enough. Okay.
Wait,
okay.
Lily, how much do you enjoy? Can we just take a moment to bask in Becky finishing my sentence after she got like literally puffed and puffed at you for interrupting her?
God, you know what? You're lucky I'm here today.
I was
all
just gonna
right.
stay quiet.
We're always so lucky that you're here.
So
love
he-
you guys.
Podcast.
Here, I love you too. Here is where I'm at on this movie. Here's where I'm at on this movie. I loved Get Out. I've been going back and watching some Key and Peele sketches, and I do think Jordan Peele is freaking brilliant. And to Becky's point, the acting is off the charts in this movie. Lupita is amazing in this movie. The way she does her voice when she is the clone, it was one of the more terrifying things I've ever heard. It was so haunting.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a movie where I actually, I didn't really try to think too hard about the logic of it. In some ways, there was a little bit of the same cabin in the woods type of logic in this movie. There's an underground thing that doesn't really make sense, and the point is that like the point.
That's not what his movies are about. Like,
but this
like those details.
But this one, unlike like trying to pick apart this one too much would be like trying to pick apart in Get Out how they did what the science was behind the surgery.
In the surgery in the
Fine,
basement of this house to then steal the bodies of other people.
Right.
So the acting was great, the tension was great. I also think because of the baggage of Get Out, you're watching the movie at first, and I'm sitting there being like, so what's the hidden Jordan Peele message here? What's the comment on race and society here? And especially after reading that Vox article, I realized that he really was talking about different issues than Get Out.
Exactly.
And it showed his strength as a filmmaker, because this one really, I think if you boil this one down to, it was about nature and nurture and about the human soul and whether or not the human soul is something that you are actually born with or is learned in society, which again, I think this article in Vox has really said this.
Interesting, because
Not
one
me.
of the, what Vlad and I didn't read any articles interpreting the film, but what Vlad and I were talking about last night is actually the film's themes around privilege and how
Right.
and
It's
how
definitely a comment on class.
why am I more entitled to live in this life, in the above ground life, with all the privilege, and there are people who are exactly like me who are suffering, and their suffering is ignored and then compounded by all of these other factors
Or mental, or we're talking about class, and somebody who has a trauma who has money and privilege will perhaps evolve with that trauma differently than somebody who doesn't.
And so I agree. I think I especially agree with your point about the filmmaking. I thought the filmmaking was phenomenal. The way that it's shot, the coloring of it, like the color grade on it, it was so rich and beautiful and really well, just really well done. And the nice part of the elasticity or the artistic side is all this room for interpretation and discussion around it. You're just in that last act of the film, it was hard for me to stay in the scariness of the story.
You and the writer of this article, and I think a lot of people. Okay.
So I think this is a movie like many others that should have been 90 minutes. And I think if it had been 90 minutes, it would have been tighter and scarier and more interesting.
Right. Exactly.
And I think in some ways, if they had streamlined it a little bit, it might have been more impactful and maybe people would have liked it more. Because in a 90-minute movie, I feel like you can get away with not explaining a lot. In a 2-hour movie,
it's just could be seen as laziness.
Well, they did a lot of verbal exposition to explain.
Yeah, that's also but in Get Out, it was the same thing. All of a sudden, somebody's just sitting there telling you what it's all, the whole background of this whole experimental surgery thing. Same thing with this, and you're just like, okay, I guess we're hearing what the movie's about.
At least they explained. So now I'm going to get into a big spoiler here, because there was a moment when the Lupita Nyong'o doppelganger Red.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Nyong'o?
Nyong'o, sorry.
Nyong'o?
I'm not good at pronouncing names.
I'm terrible at pronouncing.
I'm not sure. I'm not good at pronouncing.
The amazing Lupita, who I mean, she was amazing in this movie. Yeah. There's a part where her character's doppelganger, Red, is explaining everything that happened, and I'm watching this being like, why is this doppelganger able to talk unlike any of the other ones? Why is she special? And then what is later revealed in the last moments of the movie. So you
got it?
No, it wasn't. Only in the last moments of the movie did I realize she's able to talk and explain more, and she's unique, not because there was some sort of genetic Jesus thing about them. It's because she switched places with her. And so
Becky, did you pick up on it?
So
it was immediately one of the first questions. Once I realized that all the other doppelgangers were communicating in grunts, I looked up that. I was like, why can she talk?
How dumb am I? Jeez.
I thought it
around the same time that kid Jason did.
And I thought it was a plot. I thought it was a plot hole until the end. And then when they explained it, then it made
he was the ringleader. Some talked and some didn't. I didn't even notice. Jeez. I noticed other things about the movie that I was impressed with myself, but not that.
How did Jason get... Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Here's my questions with this, right? So this is so first of all, why I like this movie is I want to talk about this movie. I went and I read 5 articles about it. When Joker was over, I was like, I don't care if it was in his head or not. There was really nothing really that elastic about it. This movie, to me, gave me so much more to think about. And so here's my question for you. Knowing that Lupita's character at the end of the movie is actually the doppelganger, and Jason looks at her at the end of the movie like he knows that she's really the doppelganger.
How does he figure that out?
He just, because he was down. Also, we don't know if Red may have told him. Red may have told him, right?
I'm your real mother or whatever.
Yeah. Well, she's not his real mother.
Not, but Red may have told her.
No, but I should have been your mother. I don't know, whatever we could imagine she would have said.
Red may have.
She knows her life has been stolen from her.
So she may have.
Which makes more sense about the whole revenge plot then.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
And so the end of the movie is her character any less of a good mother, any less of a good person? Or is she, in fact, a villain because she switched places with this girl?
I'm going to frame it differently. I think she's incredibly relatable because of her path. that wouldn't you do anything it takes to survive? And sure, I think we see it as evil because of the evil look she makes, that like scary downturned smile. But
Adelaide,
I think the real, like, the character Adelaide, who's the real who's like the actual doppelganger. But I actually think it's just about, I mean, if I'm focusing on the themes of, classism and disenfranchisement and all of that, I see it as her instinct for survival and her ability to do whatever it takes for her own survival and to protect her children. So I don't necessarily think it's as simple as, is she a villain or is she a hero? I think it's about the complexity of our of like the human condition and our instincts to survive in anything it takes to do that and to protect our families. So I definitely don't see her as a villain.
Here's my question though: is she pretending to be scared?
Well,
during that whole first act of the film.
I think she's scared.
I think that either she has PTSD about her escape, or she knew that because Red says to her, you could have taken me with you, but you didn't. She took her and dragged her back and locked her in there, which means she's known her whole life that there's someone who knows she's exist and might come for her.
Mm-hmm. Well,
now, whether or not she erased that trauma from her memory...
I mean, right, and it's pretty clear that's how we know of the suffering of others and lock it in the closet.
Yeah.
And continue on. I mean, that right there is pretty obvious. What I think is really interesting about the movie is the amount, this elasticity really lends itself to race, class, mental illness, disenfranchisement, privilege, gender, in a way that like not most horror films can do. So there's so much that you can interpret from it. I thought it was really interesting. It's not a big deal about the movie. I just wanted to quickly say, but it's brought up in the article, and I noticed it. I'm sure you guys did too. The haunted house, fun mirror place that she meets her in the first place, is like this awful racist Native American themed venue at the pier, at the boardwalk, the Santa Cruz boardwalk. And of course, in 2019, it's now this like Merlin's castle haunted thing. And it's so obviously glossed over. Like they just replaced, like they put a beard on the Native American guy. Not exactly that, but you know what I mean? It's very clearly just been painted over. And that's, to me, is such an obvious metaphor of how the United States in general just glosses. It's easy to gloss over history that's not convenient to us. And I feel like that's seen a lot in the movie. These doppelgangers that are living under there. How much do we do or need or get or whatever that we know hurts other people, but we don't know them, so it doesn't matter in society.
Totally. I want to just make sure we give credit here. Emily Todd Vanderwerf. Todd Vanderwerf wrote an article for Vox that I think if you see us, go read this article, because a lot of our discussion is very much informed and pulling from her ideas, because I think it's a brilliant article.
Jordan Peele's Us and Its Ending Explained, sort of. And I think that there's...
Yeah, but I agree that even...
The article helps articulate a lot of the stuff, I think, that you're watching and you're not really sure how to explain.
It definitely makes for a super interesting conversation. And I think... I don't know, it's a film worth watching if you're willing to sit down and talk about it after, or really think about it and process it, because it gives you a lot more than just, the 3-act structure and some scares and that was scary. You can actually
that brings back to my point from the beginning. To me, I enjoyed the movie much more once I started reading and like talking about it with Jose and like getting into it in terms of like what it could represent and how it did it through cinema, nonetheless horror cinema. And then, but my question is, I don't know if personally this stands alone for me as a great horror film the way The Shining does, or or Get Out even.
I think it's a great movie. I don't think it's...
You need to like get philosophical about it to enjoy it?
No, it's the opposite. I think to really enjoy it, you should get philosophical. You should watch it
Yes,
a couple
but
times.
my point is, it can stand on its own
I
without all
think
that.
I mean, I think it's compared to other schlock that's out there. Yeah, it's totally a fine movie if you don't want to do any of this.
Compared to Cabin in the Woods, which was actually weirdly similar, I think this was a better movie.
What's funny is that Vlad said, "Oh, I don't feel like I need to see it twice." I feel like because there's so much rich discussion behind it, I would watch it 2 or 3 times and enjoy it more each time, having more and more discussions around how so much of the cinematic choices are informing story on multiple levels. And then I think you really enjoy it. I think you watch it once, you're like, that wasn't scary enough. That's probably most of the reaction.
I also just, I don't know if maybe we're too young, but like, do you remember? I remember the Hands Across America thing.
I don't remember.
From when
I
we were kids,
really only remember
vaguely.
it from other things, from people talking about it.
Maybe that's what I know it from, but I thought it was interesting that like he probably remembers it from growing up, and I thought it was interesting that when it's written, this is explained in the article because the author of the article went down this rabbit hole of what the hell Hands Across America was, and I think the point is that the movie's supposed to make you do that, be like, what is this thing, and then to find out that they earned about $34 million for hunger, to fight hunger, but only ever were able to keep 15 to actually give to hunger because it costs so much to do, and the whole point is like, how American is that?
Well, that's like most fundraisers.
Is there anything more than American than thinking you've solved a problem by creating a giant spectacle that it accomplishes less than you'd think? And I just thought that's
also
great. Like
that's
a
also
great
from
metaphor.
her article. That's also from her.
Yeah, no, that is from her article, exactly. But I just think that I didn't know about Hands Across America to that extent, and I just thought that was a great point too.
Well,
did you also know that during the press tour he dressed as Jack Torrance from The Shining on purpose? Jordan Peele. Like a lot of people think that he connects a lot of his work to The Shining, which I thought was interesting.
I believe that. So let's talk about Jordan Peele. I think, Lily, you made at the beginning a good point. M. Night Shyamalan. I think, so this came up with Todd Phillips directing The Joker, which is, someone's a comedy director. Can they make horror? I think good comedy, like great comedy, the way Key and Peele is, or the way Todd Phillips' great funny movies are, that is really hard to do. Becky, you know more as a filmmaker than to just make something simply scary. So I think that
why do you think all student films are dramas or silent dramas? Because doing something funny and doing something with dialogue is the hardest thing. It is absolutely the hardest. Why do you think student films are all these like weird dramas and like noirs and stuff? Because it's so much easier to do that than it is to try and make people laugh.
Oh, well, so that's it. So I think he's proven his versatility, but whatever he does next really does matter. I'm glad he's doing the Twilight Zone thing, but what I just saw, and now I have not watched the trailer yet. I don't know if you guys want to watch it together right now, but his next big thing that's coming out, all right, I'm going to read you the description of this from the AV Club describes it right here in an article by Randall Coburn. There's only 7 words in the first teaser of Amazon's Hunters. Previously titled The Hunt, but changed for obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They speak volumes. It's not murder in tones of shaggy accented Al Pacino. It's mitzvah. As we've previously reported, the series was produced by Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw Productions, chronicles a band of Nazi hunters in New York City in 1977. So his next thing he's working on is a series where Al Pacino is, by the way, in it. Not to mention Josh Radnor, who I'm glad is in more stuff, Logan Lerman, Saul Rubinek, Carol Kane, about Nazi hunters. Like, this to me is... Let's
watch the trailer. I only see a 30-second teaser. Where's the trailer?
I think the teaser is the only thing that's out. So I'm gonna send this to you guys now. All right, let's all watch.
I'm sorry, am I stupid as to why you think it's obvious they changed it from The Hunt to The Hunters?
Yeah, I don't really know why, but...
Oh, you were like, duh. Yeah. I'm like, I don't see that.
Well, no, there's another article where it says, hold on here. I'll explain that quickly because canceled earlier this week.
Oh, there's another movie, maybe? A movie that came out called The Hunt with
that's what I was thinking about. That
Betty
one.
Gilpin. That's probably why.
That's what I was thinking
Where
about. The
they
one
have
that
to
got
hunt other people.
They shelved it though. That one got shelved.
Seems like
Because
there
it
was
was
something
cover?
very bad about it. I don't know, but I don't have time to read it now. Okay, so
Okay,
let's
right.
watch this teaser and we'll
Right.
react. All right,
You're gonna put us on-
one.
Do you need to clap so you
Should we
know?
all
Oh wait,
put ourselves on
oh no,
mute?
I could do a share screen.
Oh,
fun
I mean, I
is
could
that,
just.
guys?
Oh, I guess.
wow.
That's like
Okay.
us coming into the future here. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen.
Are you gonna clap, or are you just
Technology.
gonna make people sit and listen to this for 30 seconds?
I don't know. I'll figure it out later. Blur my background. Oh no, maybe. Oh yeah, share screen. Hold on. I'll figure it out later. Okay, hang on.
Make sure to blur
Snap.
your background while you share your screen. That's something Mom would say. How do I blur my
Share
background?
application window.
Oh,
Here we
Sharing
go.
your screen. It
I'm
doesn't
just
matter if
gonna
your
clap.
background is
All right,
blurred.
do you see it? Do you see whatever I showed you?
Yes.
Just give it a sec.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Hachi Machi.
Like a full screen. I don't hear it.
We don't hear it though, sweetie.
Hold
Sorry.
on. I'm
Can we
starting.
just all put ourselves on? Okay.
Starting at the beginning.
No sound. Can we just put ourselves on mute and
Sure.
each watch it separately? It's 30
Sure.
seconds. Now I'm
Should-
just watching it
should
without
we-
sound.
We can't hear it. You're the only one that can hear
Oh,
this.
shut your phone. I'm just gonna watch it myself.
Okay, watching.
Is he on mute? Okay.
It's over.
Yeah,
Well, we didn't hear it.
it. We don't know.
There wasn't much words. Uh-oh, now we're just like discoing here.
Hold on, I'm
I
just
hear
gonna
the
watch
music.
I'm gonna watch it.
Stop sharing. Okay. Not much happens. It's 30 seconds. It's kind of confusing, to be honest. I'll remind myself what point in the.
So that's Al Pacino?
Yeah. I mean, like, are you asking, like, oh, that's what Al Pacino looks like, or?
I've never heard him with a Jewish accent like that.
Yeah, is that? Yeah, he's usually plays like Italians. No?
Yeah.
But he could do it, obviously. And I think that's really interesting. I mean, there is no, like, I would say that obviously Tarantino made sort of like a horror Nazi film, and there's lots of like zombie Nazi stuff. And I would say like Nazis give a pretty good, jumping off point for horror. So it's not that far fetched.
I
could take on the genre.
But I'd like to see his take. I'd be interested in it. Okay. One last piece of news that's, I think, relevant to this movie, because when this movie dragged, I wish I could just fast forward some of this stuff. Like, that I'll admit. So I give this movie, like, a strong rent, like a rent I would have paid for.
Exactly. It's not as strong as...
No, Get Out, I'm glad I own.
Right. Yeah.
But apparently Netflix is considering being able to let people watch movies double time the way you listen to a podcast on fast, and filmmakers are like freaking out, and I'm like, whoa, filmmakers. They're, on one hand, they're like, we don't want our movies to show in the screens, we want them to be able to show just on Netflix and the academies being whatever, but then the consumers want to do something different and they're getting all testy about it. I'm like, if I want to watch your movie on fast forward, make it snappier. Like,
Wait. One, I think filmmakers just want a place for their films to show, theaters or otherwise. I think most are actually, it's just like, get me a platform. Two, Shai, I completely agree with you. If we have to watch your films on fast forward, it's because your films are too long.
Yeah, and also
Make
for
them tighter.
shows where I'm knocking out 20-something episodes, you're telling me, like, I need to watch, I love The Rookie, but do I need to watch The Rookie on exact perfect speed? No. There's too much TV out.
What do you mean? You'll put fast forward like the speed at which you watch it, or just fast forward a scene that looks boring?
Either one's fine. No, like if I could just watch the movie at like slight, like, like
1.25.
Yeah, 1.5. Think about how much more
1.5.
shows. 1.5. 2.
How much content do we need to consume?
And I'll segue into my recs here. So, due to our good friends at the Take Two podcast, I listened to John and Craig hosted an episode, and John, my kayfabe nemesis, was raving about the show Daybreak, which was billed as, and I think it's a good marketing thing, as like Zombieland meets Ferris Bueller.
Oh, right. I've been considering watching that.
Yeah, to me, I didn't even mind that it looked like it was shot on an iPhone and not like in the...
It does look a little bit janky.
That
would maybe not want to see it.
It looks
so
below Canadian level quality.
For sure.
And I like Canadian level quality. And all the jokes were super hammy. But not in a fun way. I'm watching this and to me, it's further proof that Netflix is just like throwing money at any random thing that otherwise couldn't get made. But good quality horror comedy, Ash vs. Evil Dead, Stand Against Evil. Like, those two are about two of my favorite shows of the last few years, which were higher budget, but were also good quality. To me, this is where I think, and I said this in a tweet, I think the Academy can do whatever it wants for its standards, and I think Netflix can screen a movie wherever they want to screen it. But the idea that somehow Netflix's product is... like, I feel like we're a little bit getting like Amazon Basics batteries with a lot of their products. Like, I'm not really sure what's in them.
You didn't like it.
No, I not only did I not like it, I was like super annoyed while I was watching it, and there was a cliffhanger at the end of the first episode, which they very self-consciously talked about in the next episode, which I found even more insulting. So I just fast-forwarded to see the reveal, and then I turned off the show, and I said, okay, I'm not watching this.
Oh, okay, good to know. So, it's funny because HBO Max is starting, announced, whatever, and one of their whole things is that, like, you pay more for our service, we have less content, but we don't have filler like Netflix.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
And I'm like,
okay,
you know what?
but
I agree.
Saying you have less content,
We have
a selling point?
Yeah, because we have curated content. We have the things that are on here are all going to be good. It's not going to be filled with a bunch of filler schlock for you.
So you don't have to wade through the weeds to get
to a Stranger Things or a Glow, and then in between those, it's just
but don't you feel like you don't have you can people talk enough about it that you can kind of figure out what you'd like and not like?
You can, but I find it is like you go in there to search for something, and it's
too much stuff.
I watched a few minutes of the Kaminsky, and this is okay. I don't mind a narrow marketing, meaning I watched a few minutes of the Kaminsky method because Mom told me to watch it.
I'm not like a 70-year-old man, and I liked it.
Well, that's it. They did an algorithm. It's like there's a book company out there that like looks at Amazon algorithms and says, oh, there's a niche
we need
to be
a
created.
YA
we need a YA about turtles and koala bears that have a makeup company. And so I think that's where...
Joy, you're onto something.
So I think that they're people really love Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin, old people, and they will still subscribe to Netflix if we make this show. So that's fine. So that's okay. I'm okay with watching that. But the idea that somehow all of these shows are like the Dark Crystal thing, I get it. It was basically made for a niche group of people that include me and Adam F. Goldberg, the creator of the Goldbergs. But that thing is an ambitious masterpiece. It is not, even if you think it sucks, they put a lot of effort into making that.
Right.
I don't.
The rest kind of feels like
method is. I think that Kaminsky method is to me like living with yourself.
Okay.
It's good, but maybe not amazing. But it's not amazing,
and it's not for everyone. And it's like living with yourself, also totally for a certain, I think, demographic. I don't think everyone's gonna want to watch that show. It feels like everyone should want to watch it because it's meant for us. The same way Kaminsky method, Mom would be like, everyone needs to watch it. Yeah. But on another note, I discovered a show on Hulu that I am obsessed with that has, wait for it, 7 seasons.
What?
I have a 7-season back catalog. Oh,
okay. She can always come to the podcast. I'm sorry. She's.
Oh my! You're gonna go wash hands with Susu.
It's okay because I gotta go to the train.
Guys, it's called. You're gonna wash hands with Susu.
This reveal is killing me.
Okay.
I have to go to the train and you keep.
It's a show. I think I have to look up the name. I think it's called 48-hour travel. Or 48-hour travel.
You don't even have the name?
I don't even have the name.
What is wrong with you?
So good. Hold on, I'm going to look it up really quickly.
Is it a scripted show? If it's not a scripted show, I'm going to be annoyed that you made me wait.
It is. Shai, did you ever watch the IT Crowd?
Oh, I always wanted to.
Oh my God, it's dated, but it actually is phenomenal. Like Chris O'Dowd and these other comedians, the guy that's actually the host now of Great British Baking, Noel. So one of the guys from that show, Richard Ayoda, He's a hilarious comedian, like so dry, so unimpressed by everything. He goes on a mini break somewhere in Europe for 2 days with another comedian, and they're like they do like this tour, and he just like, it's so funny just him commenting on how he just hates everything and nothing is impressive to him. And it's so light and funny. It's like quick little episodes.
This is like a Becky Beastmaster kind of show.
It is. I am getting ready for mat leave like you wouldn't believe with this. It is, for me, it is my show dippity.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's great. I just want to say I'm excited that Atypicals has a new season.
Cool. I also saw.
All right, I gotta go.
Isn't It Romantic with that Lily bought for Allie and me, and I feel like the music.
Somebody was ungrateful, and I'm not talking about you.
The musical scenes from
Alice.
that movie are the missing part of Pitch Perfect 3. If they just spliced all of the scenes with Bumper and Amy,
You should do a mashup.
Then Pitch Perfect 3 would have been good, because this had all of the parts that Pitch Perfect 3 was missing, but this was an hour and a half movie that actually could have been 25 minutes. But I enjoyed it.
An episode of TV.
I enjoyed.
I gotta go. We got a diaper situation.
All right, where people can follow you at Paper BK Princess.
They can, but should they? All right, bye.
Lily, where can people follow you?
GK Gomez on Twitter, and I have been on Twitter Fire.
You are on Twitter
watch
Fire.
out. I'm coming for you.
And you can follow Mom's calling. She wants to be on the show right now. You can follow me at Pancake and the number 4 table. That's Pancake 4 table on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow all of the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at FriNightMoviePod.com or Friday Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram. And this will be the only time we announce this on this show, because this is going to come out while I am in South Florida, in Broward County. At Gamer Comic Expo in the Broward County Convention Center, we will have a Friday Night Movie table. I will be interviewing people, doing live podcasting. I'll be Skyping on Lily and Becky. Come over and pod with us. Be part of the Potter and family. We had an amazing time at All-Star Comic-Con. We're bringing the fun to Gamer Comic Expo in
You're our hero.
And the music from What Does It Eat shall kick in. And we will say goodbye.
Bye.
Love you.
All right, so you have a train to catch.
All right, we shall start.
Yes, we should get started.
Halloween special with special guest Lons.
I can't actually do the whole episode. I was just popping in to say hi to y'all.
Oh,
Okay.
I know. I have to take my dog out. She's out the door right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Great to see you.